Hi, Tom here with a short video just to follow up on a post I put on the Google Circle regarding levels and using histograms. I thought I'd show a video to explain the techniques I used to accomplish what was happening with those alterations I was making to Jan's photograph. So here's Jan's photo that I've opened in Photoshop. I'm using Photoshop CS6 on a PC, not the current version. Obviously Photoshop CC is the current version, or Creative Cloud, but this nevertheless will show some of the things that you can do with Photoshop. So we haven't gone through all the introductions to Photoshop here, and you've got some of that information in your modules, but I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but I thought some of you might want to jump in and dive in and have a play, because there's no reason to go through in a step process. You can actually start using this software as quickly as you want to. So I opened the file. To open a file in Photoshop, it's just a case of going up to the menu in the normal way and clicking on open, and then navigating to where you have your file stored. This is the one I've downloaded of Jan's that was on the Google Circle, and here I've got this version of Photoshop in a workspace that's set for photography. So you can change the workspaces. Because I've minimized the window to fit in the video, you can't see the workspace choices on the top bar. You'll probably see it on your own machine if you're using Photoshop, but here under window, under workspace, you can see I've got photography set. If I change to typography, for example, you can see the panels down the right hand side here have all changed to be a better choice for people that are more interested in working in type. But we're interested in photography, so I'll change it back to photography. And you can actually change these panels to a setup that suits you anyway. So you can, the workspace is very flexible, so that you can adjust it to your requirements as you go. But you'll do that little by little as you go down the track. And once you're happy with the workspace you've got, you can go up to workspace and then save it for your own purposes. So you'd call it a new workspace, and maybe even give it your name perhaps, or whatever you want for your purposes. Right now the histogram here, I've adjusted the histogram to actually display only I'll just get an expanding view here. I've got it so it's only showing the luminosity, but you can, the default is normally the colors. So if I have the colors showing, it's I'll pull it off this panel here to make it easier to see. So I can click on the name histogram there on the tab and just drag it onto my workspace here and move it around as I require it. Okay, so what it's showing is it's got the red showing all the distribution of the reds in the image, the green showing the distribution of the greens, and the blues, and it's also got cyan, magenta, and yellow there. And it's got the grey part is the luminosity. So if I switch it back to that luminosity, it's a little bit easier to grasp what's going on there. The reason that little triangle with the exclamation mark comes up is that there's uncached data there. So if I click on that, it just updates the data so that we can see exactly the true representation. I'm going to go back to the compact view and put this. I can just click on the tab there and drag it back into the panel it was in. So that's turned blue there, so if I let go, it'll put it back into that set of panels. And you can see how flexible that workspace is. So the first thing I did was to adjust the image using levels. So I'll click on my adjustments here and click on the levels panel. And what I can do here is I can just move these sliders. So if I move the white slider to where the data, I can visually see where the data starts to ramp up. And similarly, I can do the same thing with the right hand slider. I'll just put them back again though, and sometimes a better way of doing this is to hold the Alt key down on a PC or the Option key on a Mac, and when you click on the slider, then the whole screen turns black, and as you slide it to the left on the white slider, you start to see the data appearing there, and that's indicating where you're starting to get data in the in the range. So if I let go there, that's probably the best spot for the white slider, and then for the black slider, again, I'll hold down the Alt key, or Option key on the Mac, click it, and it turns all white. And then if I drag the slider to the right, when I start to see colors come up there, it's indicating we're starting to get data. So that's got the, I'll just minimize this by clicking on the double chevron here, and to switch the visibility of that new adjustment layer off, I can just click on that little eye there. So there's the original, and there's the adjustment we've made, and you can see it does make quite a big difference. But I'll switch that off, and I'll do the other adjustment that I've done too. So I'll make another adjustment layer with the curves, click on that, and here the curves allows you to adjust some more things here. So right now it's on the default preset. If I switch it to, say, medium contrast, you can see it puts an S curve in there. You can adjust that curve quite dramatically by just clicking on these little squares and sliding them around. You can actually add more squares in there so that you can have a really complex curve, but it might be better if I go back to that medium contrast again, and then I'll just adjust these sliders again the same way I did on levels. Just hold down the Alt key, click and drag till I start to see colors come up. Again, this side, click and drag till I start to see the colors appear, and let go, and there we have a kind of reasonable adjustment there. Again, I can switch the visibility of that layer off to see what the original looked like, and switch it back on again, and I can update my histogram there. Now that should give you enough functionality to make some changes to any image to improve it, or if you see that as an improvement. Now it's in the eye of the beholder, but that will give you a starting point anyway. So we'll finish that one there. Thanks for watching.